Okay, so welcome back to Star Wars Week, and just in case you didn't see the first video, I should clarify that every video I'm making during Star Wars Week is in relation to the Star Wars movies. I don't care what happened on the TV show, or in the comic books, or any of the novels, or pretty much anything from the expanded universe. Everything that I talk about in these videos is in relation to things that happened in the movies. Even though I was still a massive Star Wars fan, The Phantom Menace left me pretty disappointed, and I found it hard to get hyped up about any more of the prequels. After all, I still had the original trilogy, but needless to say, eventually I did see Attack of the Clones, and I had my issues with it. Not to say that it was all bad. I mean, there were some things about the movie I enjoyed. Probably should have wrote something down. I guess I kind of like there's gotta be something I liked about that movie.
Anakin, may the Force be with you.
Kid Boba Fett is such a little bitch.
He's jealous. He's holding me back.
I guess I like the fighting parts. One of the things that really bugs me about not just this movie, but all of the prequels, is that they have so many great actors in here, yet I can't help but feel that they've miscast Anakin not once, but twice. I think Anakin Skywalker is so mishandled as a character, it's amazing. As an audience, we need to care about Anakin Skywalker because he's our protagonist. The whole basis for the prequel trilogy is his backstory. At no point during these three movies did I ever really care for this character. He's pretty one-dimensional, and that makes him extremely hard to connect with. And the worst part is, I think there was a lot of great elements to the character that could have really illustrated his duality, but in this movie, he really did come off pretty one-dimensional. The incredibly terrible dialogue doesn't help at all, and it kind of makes all of the characters come off a little robotic in a way. Once again, Natalie Portman and Ewan McGregor do all they can with it, and I think they did a pretty good job considering the circumstances. And the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin isn't very well represented. Remember what Obi-Wan said in A New Hope?
And he was a good friend.
Too bad we never really get to see that. Friendship isn't represented by two characters standing in an elevator talking about remember the time when. Throughout the rest of this movie, all of their interactions make them seem pretty distant from each other. Anakin is just constantly bitching about how Obi-Wan isn't fair. The only problem is that Obi-Wan hasn't really done anything to warrant this. So Anakin just comes off as a little whiny bitch throughout the whole movie. So I'm going to start by talking about this whole sequence where Anakin and Obi-Wan have to protect Padme because someone put a hit out on her. So whoever wants to kill her hires Jango Fett, a bounty hunter, who then hires an assassin, who then gets a robot to try and do the job? What? Does anybody else think this is incredibly stupid? Does anyone else think this doesn't make sense at all? And the worst part is, it doesn't even work! So Padme is asleep with Obi-Wan and Anakin guarding the door, even though there's this giant window in the room that leaves her completely exposed. So the robot comes along and spreads open the window somehow and drops some poisonous bugs inside. Of course, a few seconds later, the Jedi sense the bugs and save her. Hey, here's an idea. How about you just send the robot over with a bomb? Or just launch a rocket at her through the window. The Jedi wouldn't be fast enough to stop that. I mean, it took them a few seconds to even sense the bugs. Or even better yet, hey Jango, since this is your job and you have a jetpack, why don't you just fly over there yourself and shoot her through the window? Of course, they track the robot back to the assassin, and while they're trying to interrogate her to find out who she's working for, Jango shoots her with a poison dart which kills her immediately. Once again, why didn't you just shoot the Jedi with darts? They're the ones protecting Padme, and now you have them with their backs turned. And obviously they didn't sense that dart coming, so they're pretty much sitting ducks. So Anakin has to take Padme back to Naboo, and this is the point of the movie where I think she completely loses her mind because she asks Jar Jar Binks to take her place in the Senate. Are you fucking kidding me? She's a senator. Obviously she's surrounded by a bunch of advisors, yet she chooses this retard with no qualifications or basic common sense to represent her? And to me, this is actually an extremely important part of the Star Wars timeline, and here's why. Padme puts Jar Jar Binks in charge, Palpatine manipulates Jar Jar Binks, Jar Jar then advocates all power of the Senate be given to Palpatine, who then uses his power to create the Galactic Empire and wipe out the Jedi. Sure, you could argue that at some point, even without Jar Jar Binks, Palpatine would have achieved that power, but that's all hearsay. This is how it actually happened. So in a way, Jar Jar Binks is kind of responsible for this. Now, do you understand why people hate him so much? It's not just because he's an idiot, it's because he kind of fucked up the galaxy. Then, in their first scene together, Anakin goes on bitching about Obi-Wan while Padme's trying to pack her things, and she just looks at him like, God, shut the fuck up already. It's obvious that she isn't impressed with his juvenile little tantrum. I mean, who would be? I mean, she's a goddamn senator, and you're going on about how Obi-Wan isn't fair? Oh yeah, I'm sure that'll get her all hot and bothered. Oh wait, it didn't? Oh, okay, I'll just give her this really creepy look then.
Please don't look at me like that.
Why not?
It makes me feel uncomfortable.
I guess that didn't work. Well, I'll just keep doing it anyways. Seriously, this whole time, Anakin comes off as kind of a stalker. It's not romantic, it's just creepy. I mean, the last time you saw this girl was 10 years ago, and now you tell her this?
I've changed so much.
You haven't changed a bit. You're exactly the way I remember you in my dreams.
How else did you expect her to react to that? Jeez, Anakin. Strike two. Every interaction between the two characters is completely void of any real romance, and the dialogue falls completely flat, making the characters just seem cold. Even when Padme tries to lighten up the mood a bit, Anakin comes back with something negative. She's talking about birds singing, and you come back with how you think sand sucks. Jeez, how is she ever gonna be able to resist your charm? And what the hell is this? How did this come about? How are you even attracted to this? Luckily, she realizes her mistake right away, but we all know where this is going. Picnics and whatever the hell this is supposed to be. Quick, pretend you're hurt. Then you can roll around with her on the grass and cop a feel. I almost shudder to think about what would have been if George Lucas would have written the development of Han and Leia's relationship in The Empire Strikes Back. The relationship between Han and Leia was handled so much better because there was a lot of banter between the two characters, which created a lot of chemistry.
Stop that. My hands are dirty.
My hands are dirty too. What are you afraid of?
Afraid?
You're trembling.
I'm not trembling.
You like me because I'm a scoundrel. There aren't enough scoundrels in your life.
I happen to like nice men.
Nice man.
Very nice.
By the way, I'm just throwing this out here, but how many of you eat a pear with a fork and knife? I'm just curious. And, okay, maybe it's not a pear, maybe it's some kind of space fruit, whatever, it doesn't matter. It looks like a pear.
Not a day has gone by when I haven't thought of you. And now that I'm with you again, I'm in agony.
Oh yeah, that'll turn her on. I'm just gonna show you this part because I just feel bad that they actually had to recite lines like these.
We live in a real world. Come back to it. You're starting to become a Jedi. I'm a senator. If you follow your thoughts through to conclusion, it'll take us to a place we cannot go.
Honestly, I feel that showing Boba Fett as a kid was a big mistake. I don't want to see this, and it actually kind of ruins some of the mystery behind the character. I just want to point out that I did actually enjoy the fight between Obi-Wan and Jango, since we never really got to see Boba Fett fight anybody in the original trilogy, except Luke, and that only lasted like 3 seconds. And the chase through the asteroid field is pretty cool too. I actually found a few parallels between this movie and The Empire Strikes Back, such as the chase through the asteroid field, hiding by landing the ship on something. And in The Empire Strikes Back, Boba Fett follows Han, but in Attack of the Clones, Obi-Wan actually follows Jango. The battle scene at the end of the movie isn't bad either. I actually really enjoyed seeing a bunch of Jedi fighting all at the same time. But I do think it's kind of weird when Jango gets his head cut off and Boba just picks it up and stares at it. I don't know, I just thought it was kind of weird. Now, a lot of people had a problem with the CG Yoda, especially in The Phantom Menace, because in the original release of The Phantom Menace, they actually used a puppet, and then of course George went back and changed it to CG. Well, to be honest with you, I personally don't really care that much. I mean, I guess I feel that there's just so much CGI used in the prequel trilogy that I kind of feel like, why not? You might as well. The vast majority of the characters in this movie are computer generated, except of course for some of the human characters. So I just feel that it would be kind of weird to have the one puppet bopping around. Now in the original trilogy, having a puppet made sense because for all of the characters they used practical effects. And near the end of the movie, I found a few more parallels between this and The Empire Strikes Back, such as Anakin's robotic hand, and even the last frame is somewhat similar. Not that I'm trying to compare the two movies. I mean, obviously, I personally feel that one is a vastly better movie than the other, but I just figured I'd point them out. And I think my last kind of qualm with the movie is the title, Attack of the Clones. Now, I understand that Star Wars is all based off of the science fiction serials that George Lucas used to watch when he was younger, and I'm pretty sure that Attack of the Clones was actually a title of one of those serials. But the only problem with this is that the clones in this movie are fighting with the Republic and with the Jedi. They're on the good side. So it's kind of like saying, Attack of the Good Guys. So thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't to already. Of course, I'm going to be doing my Revenge of the Sith video, where not only do I talk about that movie, but I also kind of summarize my feelings about the prequel trilogy as a whole. And shit, I don't know how to end this now. I should have wrote that down. Why didn't I write that? Now I don't know what to do.